this basic tutorial video, we're going to go through some basic colour correction and colour correcting footage that you're going to want to use in your films. So again, going back to the timeline, you've got your clips on here, your audio. Now to do the colour grading, there's a couple of ways you can do this. If you want to do the colour grading by adding a lumetri colour effect to this, go to Effects. From here, you want to go to Video Effects. And for colour correction, it's all within the colour correction section. And add the lumetri colour by clicking on it, holding and dragging to your clip. To then affect that clip, double click it, go to Effects Control, and in here you will see the lumetri colour option. And underneath there is all the things you can change. So if you want to change the blacks, you can drag them down, you can drag them up. If you want to make the blacks brighter, you can change the whites, you can change the exposure of the clip, contrast, anything you want. If you need to reset at any point for this section, click Reset. You can also change the saturation, so if you need to increase it or decrease your saturation depending on the look of your film. If you use to Photoshop and you like to use curves, you can add in curves to your piece and change your colour that way. If you want to do sort of some more different looks, you can create a faded film look if you want to do that. Sharpen your image. And again, you can change the vibrance and the saturation here. And you can also change the tint of the shadows. So if you want to make your shadow tints blue or red, you can change them here. Again, this will depend on the look of the film that you want to make. Or you can change your highlights if you want to make them yellow or green. When you start to get really into making your films and you start using colour theory within your work, this is the sort of part of the edit that you're going to want to mess around with colours to represent the mood of your film. If you want to see the difference that you've made within clips, you have the effects key here. If you click the effects key, it will remove anything to do with the lumetri colour, and as you can see, it's all gone greyed out here. But you can see that this has gone back to the original clip. If you click to turn it back on, you can see the changes that you've made. And so it's a good way of just seeing how you've made a difference. There's another way in Premiere Pro of affecting your colour using the tabs at the top. At the top, you have the colour option here. And if you click colour, you'll see that your lumetri colour comes up here. You've also got what's called a lumetri scope. If you click on the clip, it will then highlight the lumetri colour options. If you keep an eye on the lumetri scope, your changes here will affect the lumetri scope. And what the lumetri scope basically shows you is the difference between the darks and the lights within the shot. So anything that's dark will be nearer the bottom, anything that's light like the sky up here will be represented up here. If you want to muck around with the contrast and have a wider contrast, you can move the darks down, you might want to move the highlights up a little bit, you might want to move the shadows down, and then you get a much more contrasted shot. That's shown by the amount that's shown within the lumetri scope and how there's a wider option. So if I turn that off, that's how it was originally, and that's how it is now. You can use this to really boost your editing. What that will do, if you double click on this and then go to your effects control, you can see that it's automatically added a lumetri scope into there like we did before. So that's the real basics of just doing a bit of colour grading to your footage, just to bring, no, it's colour correction. That's the basics of doing a tiny bit of colour correction, and we'll go into more detail of colour correction and colour grading and how you can use that in your films in a later video.